I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
When it comes to the girl bossification of our princesses, I'm willing to say what no one else will. What's next?
She's not going to be safe with a prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
That's illegal around here. If you're not a girl boss girly, then you're a girl jaily girly. What's next?
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.
There used to be a love story in this DVD case. Not anymore! Because the movies are all about the girl bosses.
Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventure. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it.
In the unforgiving ecosystem of Hollywood, a star's ascent can be as swift as their fall.
Now, why they not like Snow White? The reason why is that the actress that plays Snow White, she acts like a bitch all the time.
I'm a narcissist.
For Rachel Zegler, the prodigiously talented actress who rocketed from high school theater to a Steven Spielberg set, the trajectory has been nothing short of meteoric.
The high bar was set by Rachel Zegler on the first day of casting. And I just kept looking and looking and looking, and she was the bar that no one reached. No one could reach as high as Rachel reached that first.
Yet, her rapid rise is now shadowed by a series of controversies.
The game that she loved to play with me when I came home with a big problem, where I was mad at somebody. She didn't have the list that she could tick off.
So profound, they threaten to ground her career before it truly takes flight.
What an idiot I've been as a young person in this industry who has no filter and no idea what she's doing.
The latest and most explosive of these sinners on the hallowed stage of London's West End, and a revival of the iconic musical Evita. According to a cascade of insider reports, Zegler didn't just join the production. She allegedly tried to commandeer it. Her purported demand that a principal male role be recast with a trans actor was delivered not as a creative suggestion, but as an ultimatum.
It's obviously a very convoluted subject, and I'm not fully equipped to talk about all of the gritty details, what she sees in the world. And it's definitely not lost on her that her themes are very much prevalent in the world. And I'm really thankful that we get to kind of hold the mirror up to society and ask them those questions without necessarily force-feeding them an answer.
This single act has ignited a firestorm, raising searing questions about artistic integrity, the limits of activism, and cultural ownership. Coupled with her tumultuous press tour for Disney's Snow White, a clear and troubling pattern has emerged.
You don't want to hear from Rachel Zegler about feminism or her life or what she wants to do with her body. Be an actress, be young, be an ingenue in Hollywood. I don't understand what she's doing. The fastest way to tank your career, go out there and start running your mouth and trashing the original IP of the film you're in. Also, there's nothing wrong with wanting a man. Can we not have chivalry in this world anymore? There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what? I'd love for a man to come scoop me up and provide for me.
TLDR, the girls and the gays, we all want a man. We all dream about true love.
Casting Zegler as a polarizing figure whose ideological zeal may be her undoing. This is the story of how a promising star became a high-risk hire, and how her quest for relevance may be rendering her radioactive.
So you're playing Eva in this Tim Rice, Andrew Lloyd Webber revival, and it's a really fresh take on such an iconic character. I mean, having Latin American heritage yourself, what does it mean to you to play her?
Yeah, I mean, it's so wonderful to get to see ourselves represented in any form of entertainment. In musical theater, it's such a wonderful opportunity to get to tell a story about such an iconic historical figure that also happens to be of Latin heritage. And I've been very fortunate in my short career to have portrayed two iconic Latinas in musical theater with Maria in West Side Story and with Eva Perón.
Which is incredible.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you. And so I'm just really, really excited to get to also find a way to represent for my people.
Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice is a pillar of modern theater, chronicling the ambitious, complex, and controversial life of Eva Perón, the First Lady of Argentina. To star as Eva is to step into a role immortalized by legends. But when Rachel Zegler took on the part, she reportedly sought to reshape the world around her character. Sources close to the production describe a moment that was less a conversation, more a cultural bombshell. Zegler allegedly sat down with the directing team and flatly stated that casting a cisgender man in one of the lead male roles was no longer appropriate for a post-binary generation. The roles in question were not minor.
In awe of all of them, the precision that it takes to do what they do, to get notes on the daily and incorporate them immediately. It's like such an ensemble piece. It's our last week here. Like Diego really became a man here.
I did. I grew out my facial hair. I'm still working on it.
I just put my blonde wig on for the first time, and I'm thinking about becoming a blonde. I'll show you a photo. And I'll show you a photo.
Together. Oh my God.
Wait, right?
Rachel.
It's wild.
Zegler's reported justification was steeped in the language of modern progressivism. She allegedly framed her demand as a way to make Eva matter again, pushing the idea that Evita could become a platform for underrepresented voices. But the ultimatum went further. Reports claim she offered suggestions for rewriting parts of the character's arc to deconstruct gender dynamics, and even proposed that traditionally masculine lines be altered to reflect fluidity and shared power. For the creative team, many of whom were veterans with decades of experience with the show, the conversation was reportedly surreal. One staffer allegedly described it as watching someone try to edit Shakespeare mid-rehearsal. The production was immediately plunged into chaos. The director was left walking a political tightrope, trying to balance the demands of a high-profile lead with the structural integrity of a beloved classic. Meanwhile, the production team scrambled, holding private sessions to determine how much change they could legally implement without violating the strict licensing agreements tied to the estates of Weber and Rice. That detail alone sent panic through the camp. Pushing too far risked lawsuits, pulled funding, or a full cancellation. Not pushing far enough risked losing their star and the ensuing media firestorm. The show, once a celebrated highlight, was now being described internally as one bad headline, away from collapse. Asterisk had the Evita incident occurred in isolation, it might have been dismissed as an ambitious actor overstepping their bounds. But it landed in a context already established by Zegler herself, the disastrous press tour for Disney's live-action Snow White. It was here that she first cultivated a reputation for attacking the very legacy she was hired to embody. In a series of interviews that have since become infamous, Zegler repeatedly mocked the 1937 animated original. She declared that the classic story, written nearly 90 years ago, was no longer relevant. She branded the prince a creepy stalker who follows Snow White around without her consent, and proudly announced that the love story would not be at the forefront of the new film. It's not about the love story at all, which is really wonderful, she stated, adding that all of the prince's scenes could get cut. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Fans accused her of blatant disrespect for a cherished classic and for Walt Disney's legacy. The criticism wasn't merely from anti-woke trolls. It came from a broad spectrum of Disney enthusiasts and casual viewers who were baffled by the lead actress's apparent disdain for her own character. As one commentator in the transcript noted, Rachel Zegler is making it very difficult to be excited for the new Snow White movie. Instead of pulling back, Zegler doubled down, framing the backlash as proof that society was still hostile to strong, opinionated women. This response only fanned the flames. The controversy grew so toxic that many believe it was a key factor in Disney's decision to push the film's release date from 2024 to 2025, giving them time for potential reshoots and, more importantly, time for the public to forget her inflammatory press tour. The Snow White debacle established a script that the Evita controversy now seems to be following. Step into an iconic role, publicly criticize its foundations, attempt to reshape it through a modern ideological lens, and brace for the fallout. What Rachel Zegler may have fatally underestimated was that Eva Perón is not a fictional fairy tale princess. To the people of Argentina, Evita is a sacred, deeply personal, and politically charged figure. She is a symbol of national identity, class struggle, and feminine power, whose influence still echoes through the country's culture. When word of Zegler's alleged demands circulated in Buenos Aires, the reaction was swift and unforgiving. Argentine media outlets seized the story, TV commentators dissected it, and politicians weighed in. The consensus was one of outrage. Zegler was accused of cultural arrogance and a form of neo-colonialism, imposing American identity politics on a South American legacy. A historian on Canal 13 explained how inserting 21st century gender discourse into the narrative fundamentally undermines the complex gender dynamics that existed in mid-20th century Argentina. You don't need to rewrite history to honor identity, she argued. You need to understand it. Social media in South America connected the dots to her Snow White comments, seeing a clear pattern. One trending post in Spanish read, "First, Snow White, now Evita. What's next?" Che Guevara, played by a TikTok influencer. The sentiment was that Zegler was using Latin American icons to boost her personal brand while ignoring the actual communities they came from. Even some LGBTQ advocacy groups in Argentina, while supportive of trans inclusion in theater, cautiously distanced themselves from the alleged demand. An activist told the newspaper, Clarín, visibility matters, but so does respect for the people people whose story you're telling. Zegler's silence on the matter only amplified the perception that she was pushing an agenda she couldn't or wouldn't defend to the people most affected by it. What started as a casting dispute had escalated into a diplomatic crisis. While the public debates the ethics, Hollywood and Broadway are making cold, hard calculation. The fallout from Zegler's behavior is reportedly raising serious red flags. In the rooms where careers are made or broken, multiple industry insiders have described her as a high-risk hire. The consensus portrait emerging is of an actress who is brilliant but exhausting. This reputation is dangerous in an industry built on collaboration and immense financial investment. Producers and studios are reportedly growing hesitant to attach her to legacy properties, knowing the PR storm that will likely follow. One executive from a major streaming platform was quoted saying, "She has the potential to be the next Alyssa Milano, but only if she learns how to work with the room. Right now, she walks in like she owns the script." This isn't just about hurt feeling, it's about business. Her career trajectory, once seemingly limitless, is showing signs of turbulence. Her breakout role in Spielberg's West Side Story earned her critical acclaim, but the film was a major box office bomb, losing a reported $120 million. Her return to the stage in a Broadway production of Romeo plus Juliet was met with mediocre reviews, with critics calling it a bad attempt to get Gen Z interested in theater. Now, with Snow White mired in bad press and Evita in chaos, the industry is asking a difficult question. Is this talent worth the chaos? For many, the answer appears to be trending towards no. Rachel Zegler may genuinely believe she is fighting for something bigger than herself, pushing for progress, championing inclusivity, and giving voice to the voiceless. But in doing so, she is also lighting match after match inside the very institutions that opened their doors to her. From Snow White to Evita, the pattern is difficult to ignore. To her critics, demanding a co-star be replaced to serve a political point doesn't look like inclusion. It looks like ego. Attempting to rewrite other people's history for applause in London or Los Angeles doesn't look like progress. It looks like arrogance. The public and the industry that serves it appears to be running out of patience. The question is no longer just about one casting decision or one controversial interview. It's about whether Rachel Zegler has become too polarizing to carry the very stories she claims to represent. In her quest to fly closer to the sun of social justice, she may have miscalculated, burning the wings that once allowed her to soar. Whether she can change course before she crashes back to earth remains to be seen.